The Meeples and Miniatures podcast is sponsored by Two Fat Lardies, Firestorm Games, and the most generous donations of you, the listener. We'd like to thank everyone for their continued support of this podcast. We really do appreciate all your help. Meeples and Miniatures, episode 281. Gaming with the Next Generation. With hosts Neil Shuck and Mike Hobbs, and guest Wayne Peters. This show was recorded on the 20th of November, 2019. Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Meeples and Miniatures podcast. In tonight's episode, the part of the Brummy Dwarf is going to be played by the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. Because I appear to be late for everything at the moment, even this podcast. So very kindly, our guest has been hanging around for forever whilst waiting for me to actually get my act together and get sorted out. So, thank you, sir. We shall introduce you shortly. Unfortunately, there is somebody who has to put up with my tardiness all the time. Luckily, he's a very forgiving person. So, welcome once again, the Welsh Wizard himself. It is Mr. Michael Hobbs. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, Neil. How are you doing?
Well, you know.
I was putting on my posh voice then. Do you see that? Hello.
Yeah, it was very BBC.
Yes. I'll be honest, I was about to cough, so I was trying to hide it. Hello, 'tis I. I'm here.
How you doing? You all right?
Yes. Very excited. Got a mate on.
Good. Did you survive the blizzards? from our last recording, yeah.
It melted the next day. I was gutted. Couldn't phone in for a snow day.
Hang on.
Yeah, no.
You work from home. How does that work?
Well, I like to, when I go to work in the morning, I like to go out the back door, walk around the side of the house, come in the front door, and walk upstairs to the study.
Oh, I see.
Mm.
Yes. Moving swiftly on. So on tonight's show, we have a guest who apparently it's a surprise that he's on as well as for us. But that just serves him right for doing, for making a provocative tweet,
and also being on the Oddcast.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh that's somebody else who keeps nicking our guests.
Yeah, and in this case, he nicked our guest before we invited him.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Right. Well, welcome to the one, the only, the man who has a rock star Twitter avatar. It is Mr. Wayne Peters. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello there. How do you do? Sorry, I'm just thinking these podcasts are like buses. I've never done one before, and I've done 2 in 2 weeks.
Yeah, don't worry. It's a very small gene pool with podcasts.
I'll be a pro at it before you know it. I'll have my own room with a star on the door.
Oh yeah, you'll be running your own next week. You'll get off it. You think, oh, that was easy.
I've thought about it from time to time, but I'd never think of anything I would talk about that somebody else isn't already doing. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that hasn't stopped us.
Yeah, not quite. Yeah, yeah, and of course you will now forever have the curse of you're chatting to somebody at a show and somebody will come up behind you and saying, "Are you Wayne Peters? I heard you on a podcast." Yes, actually, it would be, "Are you Wayne Peters? I heard you on the Oddcast. I thought you were very good." Yes, because no one listens to this show anymore. Yeah, we're so last decade. So here we are for another time together of gamer chat. Now, Wayne has been listening to the show for a year or so he informs us. So he knows what's coming next. So the first thing he has to do to prove that he is worthy to be on the show and to have us chat to him. Yeah, actually, I think you're probably better off just going, yeah, I'm not worthy, and get off now. Quit while you're ahead. Yeah. Anyway, we'd like to find out something of your gamer credentials. We'd like to find out how you got into the hobby and what sort of thing are you into as far as the hobby is concerned. So, Mr. Wayne Peters, how did you get into this illustrious gaming hobby that we all enjoy?
Oh, right, blimey. What's the time limit on this? It's about 3.5 years, isn't it? Or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
As long as I explain it in less than that, we're fine, yeah. I guess it all started in 1984 when I randomly purchased a copy of The Forest of Doom from the school book club. And it's just this incredible thing where you had this, it was a book with a story, but you got to decide what happened. And my tiny mind was absolutely blown. And that was the first time I encountered anything like role-playing games. So I guess I'm more of a role player than a war gamer. I think really. That was quickly followed by my dad buying me a copy of Imagine magazine number 12 by mistake, thinking it was a computer magazine because I was into my Commodore 64 as well. Right. And that's how I discovered Dungeons and Dragons. It turned out there was this whole game. It wasn't, you weren't just limited to 2 choices. You could do absolutely anything, and you can create the worlds, and you can create the adventures, and you run your friends through it, and it was just incredible. It was like a whole world opened up. And then shortly after that, a friend of mine in school said, "Oh yeah, I've got a copy of Dungeons and Dragons." He had the red box, the Mensa, the basic expert companion set. Yeah. And so he said, "Come round, we'll play a game." So, and that's I guess is where I started. It was around about that time that I met a bunch of guys who, to this day, are probably my oldest and closest friends. I introduced them to D&D, and they introduced me to Warhammer Fantasy Battles, the first edition.
First edition, wow!
First edition, yeah. And I remember the first game we played was with unpainted metal miniatures on a mattress in a spare bedroom at my mate's house. that was it. And trying to figure the rules out. About 6 of us all sat around this spare bed, trying to figure the rules out. But yeah, and from there it was just endless days of D&D and Traveller, the old Games Workshop Judge Dredd game, and Call of Cthulhu, and later on Vampire and Mage, and Warhammer, which later obviously then went into 40k and a bunch of other stuff like BattleTech as well. I was quite into. So yeah, that's these days I'm quite into the role playing games. I'm quite into Fate and Savage Worlds. The new Star Trek Adventures is really good. I really enjoy that.
Was that the new Modifius one? Yeah.
Yeah. That's a nice little system. Things like RuneQuest Glorantha as well, which I've got a copy of the book. I think I got it off you, didn't I, Mike?
You did. You had my spare one.
Yes, I did. Yes, very grateful for that. I've not managed to play it yet, but I intend to. I've got it. I've got a because I run games at the RP Haven Cardiff North in Radda on a Wednesday night. I've basically got the next 2 years of games I want to run listed out. So RuneQuest Glorantha is one of those. So I guess that covers everything really. That's yes. Been mainly a role player since 1984 in a nutshell. Yeah, the TLDR version.
Yeah. Okay. So, what are you particularly into at the moment?
At the moment, I am really into Gaslands. Right. I have been. At the moment, I'm running through a Call of Cthulhu campaign, the Day of the Beast, originally called Fungi from Yuggoth. I usually do that Wednesday night. We cancelled tonight, as luck would have it. But so that's what I'm kind of role playing at the moment. I run 3 lunchtime D&D groups in school with the kids. We obviously have the the after school Warhammer group, which is the reason you kindly asked me on. And yeah, my big thing at the moment is Gaslands. I'm currently on my workbench at the moment is I got a load of Matchbox cars, Hot Wheels cars these days, aren't they? All kind of drilled and taken apart and being repainted in various sort of colours and having 3D printed weapons put on them. And yeah, no, Gaslands definitely that's what I'm into at the moment.
Cool, excellent stuff. Gaslands is one of those things where, yeah, we've kind of got it, we've got everything, and we just not got around to getting it on the table yet. But it is a very cool system.
Yeah, so, yeah, I like it a lot. Nice and simple, nice straightforward. Because it's the new Kickstarter for the Car Wars 6th edition is imminent as well. It'd be interesting to see what they've done with that, because I think that's taken a lot of cues from the Flight Path system these days.
So, one has to ask. Quite interestingly, we were only chatting to Gav Thorpe on the previous show, and we were asking about some of the stuff he was writing, and he just happened to mention that, if somebody wants to get me to write some more kind of Warhammer Old World stuff, they might have to do something about it. So, as a Warhammer player from back in the day, what's your reaction to the latest news from Games Workshop?
I don't know. I think it's a good thing. Whether they actually do bring the old world back, apparently, they've literally just got a logo so far, and they've announced it. So whether they're just testing the water to gauge the reaction, but it'd be nice. I don't think they're gonna. I can't imagine they'll wipe away Age of Sigmar and bring the old world back. I don't think that's gonna happen.
No.
I can well imagine it will be things like they've done with the 30k stuff. You know, it's an alternative rule set that you can buy. To play Warhammer Fantasy Battles with if you want to go that way. But I can imagine Age of Sigmar will still be the focus. So. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to have some new content, new old world content again. I think, even though I imagine it will be a sideline.
Yeah, I just feel for everybody who, for all those people who burnt their armies and stuff.
Bunch of idiots.
Well, yeah, that's it. It took me. I wasn't keen on Age of Sigmar to start with because I really like the old world, but I am a convert now. I love Age of Sigmar. Again, we'll talk about this later. This is something I've been reading the rules the last week or so, so I can introduce you at the school club. So, I very much like the simplicity of it. They've dropped toughness, the sort of weapon strength versus toughness. Now you just get a flat wound roll on a weapon, which is really cool. Just gets rid of an extra dice roll,
and it's less figures.
Yeah, if you want to go, you can have less figures, but that was the thing that sold me on it. We went to the Warhammer shop in Cardiff Central a few months back with some of the kids from the school, and had a kind of a demo day there, and they played Age of Sigmar for us, and we had mass armies either side, and I realised that it doesn't have to be a skirmish game. It can still be a mass battles game, and it works just as well. And I thought, well, this is Warhammer. This is the Warhammer I know. They may have changed the setting, but when you get to the actual table, it's the same game. So I was totally sold on it.
Controversial, something.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that controversial? Sorry.
Yes. How dare you like Age of Sigmar? Do you know? That's two guests we've had in a row who both like it.
So.
I know.
Right. Okay. Well. More of which later then, I suppose. Well, thank you for that introduction, Wayne. Yeah, we shall look forward to finding out more about your hobby as we progress during the evening.
All right.
So on that note, I think it's time we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, it's time once again to enter the confessional. The Meeples and Miniatures podcast is proud to be sponsored by Two Fat Lardies, purveyors of the finest rolls, supplements and gaming accessories for all your wargaming needs. Most recent in their offerings include the September War Anniversary Bundle, marking 80 years since the start of World War II. This is a 2-scenario book set for I Ain't Been Shotgun. In accompaniment to that, you have a free PDF download of Blitzkrieg in the East Part 1 Poland, which contains a number of army lists for I Ain't Been Shotgun. This is a free PDF download. And a special offer on the Kriegspiel Compendium, rules, scenarios and a map for this classic wargame. Don't forget that you can get more Two Fat Lardies by viewing Lard TV on YouTube. The latest episodes include parts 3 and 4 of Taking the Gemblow Gap, a playthrough of General Darnay, Rich Clark finishing his build of the Blacksmith, and Sydney's Battlefield Challenge. Also, don't forget that for your listening pleasure, you can also download The Oddcast. It's available on Lard TV, but also via your podcast app of choice. Two Fat Lardies. Play the period, not the rules. Dearly beloved, we are gathered together once again to confess our heinous crimes of purchases of gaming goodness. So here we are. I think I shall go first, and I will actually say that I've been pretty good this week. I don't think I need to confess the fact that a Kickstarter has arrived when it isn't due until tomorrow. So I think I can get away with that one.
Yep, same here.
Yeah. What on earth this 8 kilo parcel from Poland could be? We have no idea. We haven't got a clue. Yeah, we have no idea whatsoever. Honest, Scuff. No.
Yeah, I saw the tweet. Yeah. 8 kilos.
I've asked Mandy.
Yeah.
I've asked Mandy to leave the house.
Yeah, and yes, and of course when we said it's an 8 kilo parcel, Mr. Hitman turned around and went, huh. It's like you call that a heavy parcel, I see you that I see your 8 kilos and I raise you Joan of Arc. Yes. Mind you, having said that, the one wave pledge for Nemesis was fairly hefty. But anyway, yes. So that doesn't count because that hasn't physically arrived as we're recording this. So that doesn't count. No. Okay. I was sorely tempted on Friday because I actually went down to the all new Battlefield Hobbies. They've moved across Daventry to some new premises. So they've redone their shop and their gaming area. So it's now all on one level, and they got a bigger shop. So they've got even more stuff on display now. And I was it was so tempting wandering around, kind of going, oh. Yeah. Just about managed to get out of there. So survived that. However, I did back a Kickstarter yesterday. Whether or not that will stay backed is something that remains, but considering the fact it's one of these that you got a freebie if you backed in the first 24 hours, because what they were doing is basically they were having a cut-off based on backer number. So I said, well, back it, back us, and we'll basically give you an expansion for free. So I backed Dawn of Madness, which is by Dimension Games, which is their new game. They're the same guys that did Deep Madness. the Deep Madness game, which we have almost played. I brought it down to Cardiff, and then we got distracted, so we haven't quite played Deep Madness. But no, this is the it's another kind of horror storytelling game.
Ooh,
so it's got like miniatures in it, which are pretty disturbing, to be perfectly frank. But it's another one of these horror storytelling-ish games. So I'm very, very tempted, but the issue is going to be, the biggest issue I think is going to be is that it isn't just what we pay now, but what we end up paying in shipping and then what we end up paying in duty. Especially with it being shipped in from Europe. Because obviously, by the time it gets delivered, and this delivery date on there that they put in is October 2021, as opposed to October 2020, they basically turned around and said, look, we missed our last date by 6 months. So basically, we'd much rather say, this is the worst case scenario, and if we come in early, then that's far better than turning around and saying, okay, sorry, we're delayed by 6 or 9 months. So who knows what the situation's going to be as far as importing stuff into the UK is concerned from Europe come October 2021.
Oh, it'll be the same as now. Head of politics there.
Well, there we go. So that is my only caveat, but other than that, it does look interesting and incredibly twisted. And it has to be said, they did a bang-up job with Deep Madness. That is a really decent game. So that's all. That's actually all I did. So I backed Dawn of Madness on Kickstarter by Dimension Games, and that is me.
Wow,
Mr. Peters.
Oh, this will be quick.
What have you been doing up to? What have you been up to recently?
What have we been doing, or what have we been buying?
What have you been buying?
Buying. Well, I tend to have a gaming budget that would make a child's pocket money look like an embarrassment of riches. So I have, in recent memory, bought several large tubes of acrylic from the Works bookshop.
Oh, right, okay.
That's about it. But top tip here, they've got, they do the Works now, the bargain bookshop. They tend to have these huge tubes of acrylic for a couple of quid, and I thought it was going to be transparent crap, but it's actually pretty good. I used it I've been using it to paint some scenery with.
The was it the guys on Luke's APS on the YouTube channel?
Okay.
He swear all his mediums and stuff, because the Works do like Winsor and Newton mediums and stuff, don't they? So he gets a lot of his acrylic mediums and wash mediums and stuff from the Works because it's cheaper, and basically he mixes up all his own stuff. But he turns around and says, the Works as far as art supplies is concerned, the Works is brilliant.
I say I don't know what this stuff is called. It's not a name I recognise. It's a bit like Winsor and Newton. It's two names again, but I'm blanking on it at the moment. But no, I was surprised at the quality of it for the price. It's extraordinary. So I'm afraid that's it. So
that's it. Not even a role playing supplement.
Nope. Got all the role playing stuff I need really. This is why I tend to be more of a role player than a war gamer.
No accidental PDF purchases.
I'm thinking there must be. I'm trying to. Oh, I tell you what I did do. I did go in on the not the bundle of holding, the humble bundle Warhammer Horus Heresy audiobook thing the other day for a couple of quid. Got myself some Horus Heresy. That was
the other thing I have to blame you for. Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. All right. So it's your fault that I now own a complete 40k role playing system.
Right. Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I deny all knowledge, Governor.
Yeah. You'll have to listen to the last show, which obviously at the time we're recording this hasn't been published yet. But there was to regale the story again. Basically, I meant to buy the audiobooks, but wasn't fully concentrating on which 40k link within Humble Bundle I was in when I hit buy, and so I ended up buying the Rogue Trader role playing system as opposed to the audiobooks, which I subsequently purchased. But it does mean that I now it's good background reading.
Yeah,
I've been listening to the first two Horus Heresy books, and Toby Longworth combined with Dan Abnett, blimey, they're terrific. I've not been interested in the Horus Heresy at all before now. Now I'm kind of hooked. I want to know more.
Yes, it was those books that got me into it. It's so rich, the history.
Yeah, well, I rate Dan Abnett as a writer anyway, but Toby Longworth really brings it to life. Although I have to say his interpretation of Abaddon as Zippy is an unusual artistic choice, I have to say. Other than that, though, it's great. Bizarre.
Hobbs, I think we should.
Yeah, you picture this huge hulking character with this great big top knot and he's in this kind of like scowl. He goes Hobbs. What? What kind of voice is that?
Yeah. I always feel sorry for voice artists when they come up with some really good accents and then realise, hang on, I've got to do this for the next 27 hours.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he does a mean Schwarzenegger in one of them. It's early on in Horus Rising, I think. And one of the Space Marines is basically Schwarzenegger. You would be dead before you could pull the trigger. He guesses. That's awful, but he gets it spot on. Really good. Yeah, no, Toby Longworth. All right, a big thumbs up for him.
Yeah, no, I haven't got around to starting it yet. I was about to start and then got distracted by the fact I suddenly found the complete set of Harry Potter audiobooks that for some strange reason I've never listened to. I don't know why.
Stephen Fry or Jim Dale?
The Stephen Fry. So
they're
so it's like that was so I'm torn at the moment between Horus Heresy and Harry Potter, but there we go.
It's a strange place to be.
Indeed, it is. Yes, yes. Right. Anyway, so Mr. Hobbs, save us, and regale us with this week's multiple purchases.
Well, there's only one.
Okay.
Which is an order from Futsal. So,
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I bought some of the Persian and the Thracian cards from Mortal Gods, plus a few Athenian shields and some more dice because dice. Got more dice. That's it.
Excellent. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So in that case, then we'll have to save us and say, okay, anything shiny? Anything you spotted? Yes.
I think me and Mike are going to say the same thing.
You say yours first.
Go on then.
Sisters of Battle.
Oh no!
Oh no! Okay.
No. I saw my army about 5 years ago. I'm not going back there.
Oh, fair enough.
Yes.
Did you not? Okay, so Sisters of Battle. Did you were you one of the lucky ones?
I have absolutely no chance of ever buying it, but man, would I love to. That's definitely caught my eye.
Yeah, they do appear to have done a decent job with it. Although yet again, they have woefully. I think that they have woefully underrated demand.
Oh, okay.
Or perhaps they've done it. Or perhaps they've done it completely on purpose.
Yes.
Well, I apparently they're static figures. They're doing the multi-part ones after Christmas. I think if I'd spent that kind of money, I'd be a bit disappointed if they were just fixed, fixed static figures.
Yeah, that's why we did. They're all statics. And hair,
Yeah, but no, that is a beautiful box set. It really is.
A lot of stuff in it.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I've got two.
Go on then.
Sure. Right. So first one is a quick one. Crooked Dice, new Kickstarter.
Oh yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I don't know this.
Oh,
Is that started today?
yeah, Saturday, and it's most definitely not Flash Gordon. I just want to say that it's nothing like Flash Gordon. The fact they got some bloke that looks like flying dresses with wings.
See, I know nothing about this one. I did I did a lot of illustration work for Carl early on, but haven't done anything for 7TV for Crocodile for a while now.
Yeah,
This is part of their. This is an expansion for their pulp.
yeah.
Gaming, isn't it? Yeah, for their pulp expansion, which came out at Games Expo.
Yeah. So, yes, it's most definitely not Flash Gordon in any way, shape, or form. Just want to underline that it's nothing to do with Flash Gordon.
Right.
Indeed.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Savior of the universe and all
Yeah.
that.
So there's that one, and also
Yes.
I got sent a free figure. And were you sent one as well, Neil?
I believe I was, although it has yet to appear.
Oh, okay. Well, a very nice listener to the podcast, Mr. Stuart Dobson of
Thank you, Stuart.
magpiedesigner.com, sent over a letter saying that he's 3D printing some 1/300th scale World War II coastal boats. And would I like to see one? And I went, oh, I'd love to. Most definitely would, you know. And he sent me one. He sent me an RAF rescue launch that he's printed out, and it's very nice. I think he's using a resin printer. When you know a lot more about this stuff than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, yes, he's probably using a resin printer. Not yes, I know more about the thing.
Well, it's very clean and you can see through it. So,
okay.
It's beautiful. I've never seen a 3D print of this quality ever.
Yeah, it's the resin printers for you. I know the other type they're getting much better in quality these days, but the resin ones just blow me away.
Yeah, and he's selling these things for about £5. I mean the mast is about the thickness of a human hair. No, it's slightly longer than that, but it's thin.
Blimey. Yeah.
It is really, really thin. I mean, when it comes to thin things, it is thin.
Okay.
I really can't stress how thin this thin thing is. But it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So, I think I'll put some pictures up on Twitter. But, yeah, and I'm not saying this because he sent me one for nothing. I'm saying this because it's bloody lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah, go and have a look on Magpie Designer. He's doing all sorts of stuff for any 6mm Coastal Command games that you might be playing. I think he's also doing some 1/700s sort of Napoleonic ships as well.
Really? Oh yes. Mm.
So sorry, Magpie Designer.
Yeah, .com.
Magpie, right? Okay. Yeah, I'll have a look.
Cool.
Yes. So there we go. Well worth a little gander because I'm going to paint this up. It's gorgeous. But I love the fact that I can hold it up and see through it.
Yeah.
It's the little things that appeal to me.
Well, they'd have to be.
Yeah. Oh, Neil.
Sorry, it was an open net.
It was an open net, and I'll let you have it. So thank you, Stuart, for sending that, and I love it. And yeah, we'll have to when yours arrives, Neil. You have to make sure that Mr. Hickman sees it.
I'm actually certain. I'll almost certainly make a gift of it to Mr. Hickman, since he's more likely to make use of it than myself. Since I don't know, he may have a couple of plastic Vospers that are of similar sort of ilk, but obviously different variant.
Indeed. So I mean, I'm just looking through his shop, and he's got the rescue launch, which I got. He's done a cargo ship. He's done a block ship, which is the one that sinks, or is partially sunk. That one.
Oh, okay.
I think they used them as sort of reefs, didn't they? As sort of temporary harbours.
Yeah.
These trawlers, he's done sinking trawlers, he's done all sorts of stuff.
Ooh.
Very nice. And yeah, nice guy.
Excellent stuff, yeah.
I'm not saying that because he sent me a free figure and I can be bought.
Honest, Gov.
Yeah, but he sent me a free figure and I can be bought. And it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the main thing I saw this week, which I went, ooh, is they have released the vendors, I suppose, is the best term for the new Goblin Wolf Riders. These are the Oathmark plastic Goblin Wolf Riders that are I saw the 3-ups or some of the 3-ups for at Salute, but yes, that apparently they are due out in January.
Oh, I'll have to have a look at those. I love me a Goblin Wolf Rider.
There were some complaints about because, well, first off, I mean the goblins are great. The wolves are quite stylized. I mean, first off, they rather than actually making it like a full base, it's almost like the paws, if they're on the ground, have individual little bases on them.
Oh, okay.
As opposed to it being a full base. So and the other thing they've done is they have sculpted the figures. Actually, they remind me very much of the wargs. Nothing else from the Journeys of Middle Earth game. So they have kind of rough manes and paws and a tail. But then the rest of the body is quite smooth.
Mm.
So they've styled like that as opposed to like a wolf.
Like a shaggy wolf.
Like a shaggy wolf.
Yeah, maybe it's a wolf in its spring coat, but it's just molted.
Yeah. So some people have kind of said, well, it would have been nice to have fully textured wolves as opposed to this particular style.
Mm.
But having said that, they look great. I mean, apparently there are going to be 15 in the box, and considering, so that'll be 15 Wolf Riders for somewhere between £20 and £25. I'd have thought, because one would imagine they would be the same. They would be the same price as the current box sets.
Mm.
So I think that's going to be a bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So looking forward to those. But that's about me. I think that's about me for this week. And the other thing, obviously, the other thing is just to give a shout out now because it will happen before we next record, and that is Annie's going to be running a new Kickstarter.
Oh yeah.
For a whole new bunch of sensible female figures. Lots of land army, including Bofas and crew, and all sorts of little bits of goodness.
Yeah, she's gone nuts for World War II stuff, hasn't she? I've been watching her Sunday YouTube coffee things that she does, and she's got absolutely nuts for the World War II period and figures for that now. It'll be really interesting to see what she produces.
Yeah, as I say, I think there's an awful lot of land army and women's volunteer service stuff going to be coming out, which of course is going to be absolutely ideal if anybody does anything like sea lion type scenarios or things like that. That they will be brilliant for. So
what's that? Is it the gun set she's done recently though? Is it the Bofas? Is that right?
Yeah, it's a Bofas set.
That's beautiful. That is a really nice piece.
Yeah, it is lovely. And I think that starts end of November. From what she was tweeting today, I think it's the end of November that starts. But that's going to be worth a look.
I feel there might be refugees as well, which would be really useful.
Oh yeah, that would be good. Yes, always very useful to have that sort of.
Probably guinea pigs as well.
Oh yeah, that would be, yeah.
Yeah, it has to. Yeah, she did preview one figure on the Kickstarter thing I saw today, which was of somebody of a woman with a headscarf holding up a pig, and and I must admit, I looked at it, and the thing that immediately crossed my mind was Private Function.
Okay, yeah.
Do you remember the film Private Function?
Yeah, vaguely. It was a long time ago.
Oh yeah, it was a long time ago, but yeah, it's the old post-war. It's a post-war comedy. About somebody trying to a black market pig. It's well worth a look if ever you if ever you come across it. What was it? Denholm Elliott, Michael Palin, Maggie Smith. Yeah, so that sort of thing. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Right. Okay. So just a little bit. Right. Okay. Well, if that's all our confessions, I think it's time that we moved on and talked about what we've been up to in the hobby. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, it's time to chat about all the hobby stuff we've been up to. Hi everyone, Neil here. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Meeples and Miniatures podcast. If you are, I'm wondering, would you consider becoming a patron of the show? For as little as $1 a month, you can help support us in what we're doing with the show. For that, you can get access to a monthly question and answer show, and that will also allow you to ask questions. If you pledge more, you potentially get bonus podcasts. And you never know, you might even get invited to be on the show yourself. If you want to know more details, please follow the link to our Patreon page, which is on the front of the website. That's www.meeplesandminiatures.co.uk. Thanks a lot. So it's that time of the show where we chat about what we've been up to in the hobby recently, what we've been painting, what we've been gaming. Well, I've not painted a lot. In fact, I've painted absolutely nothing since we last spoke. However,
let him down the side.
However, I have managed to play a couple of games, including one I have not played before. Ooh. Right, so
Nemesis.
Not quite, but close. Right, so as previously mentioned, we went down to the new Battlefield Hobbies in Daventry on Friday, and we had a couple of games of Journeys in Middle Earth. Myself and Josh. Spoiler alert: we played the. There's like a side quest in the main campaign of Bones of Arnor, where you have the possibility of hunting and killing a troll. You encounter a troll, and it's like, do you want to go after the troll, or do you want to pursue the main orc army? And the first time we played through, we pursued the main orc army. This time around, we went, let's go see if we can kill the troll. Well, okay.
How did that work out for you?
How did that work out? It was all going swimmingly until
you met him.
Well, actually, it wasn't going too bad, and there was only one slight problem. In the fact, I was playing Beverville the Ranger, and I had an absolutely disastrous turn where, although I stunned the troll, and I did a shed load of damage to him. I did like 9 points of damage to him and stunned him. Of course, I then attacked him again, forgetting the fact that if you don't elite creatures, unless they are physically stunned that turn, can still counter-attack. So I got absolutely clobbered in counter-attack, completely failed to save anything, and then the battle takes place in a dark cavern. So at the end of the so at the start of the shadow phase, you have to make a test because it's dark. So so it's almost like, it's dark and things could be hiding in the dark. So you have to take like a test, and if you fail, you take fear, which I failed completely. So I then maxed out on fear. So you then have to do this last stand test. All I had to do was say, okay, right, pass, get 1 success out of 4 cards. Failed completely. So essentially, my ranger died not because the troll killed her, but because she was scared of the dark. So Bilbo had a final turn to kill the troll. The troll was on something like 4 hit points, which he managed to do. So
yay!
Great, fantastic, absolutely wonderful. We've killed the troll. And so we hit continue. At which point it goes, oh, look, the troll gets back up again. And it's like, what? And it's like one of these boss fights where you have to kill the boss twice.
Was it troll regeneration, or is that just a D&D thing?
I don't know if it's a D&D thing, but there's a similar thing happens in a previous scenario. The first time you meet an orc chieftain, you can knock him onto 0 hit points, and then basically he gets back up again. And so in order to put him down, you have to kill him twice. And if you fail to kill him twice, he gets away. And unfortunately, because we'd only killed him once, and then the game ended because I died. Yeah, we failed.
Oh,
so there we go. So yes, but it was an interesting couple of little scenarios. So still very much enjoying Journeys of Middle Earth. So that was that, and then Monday night we played the other Alien Horror Survival game that I own, not Nemesis, because it has to be said Nemesis is still in the box and not come out the cellophane yet. I've been distracted. Yeah, but
and you moaned and moaned about not getting that. Moaned, you did.
Yeah, okay.
I'll let you off though.
So we played the game of Lifeform, which was the other alien-inspired, shall we say, game. Except, interestingly, I had to smile because Mr. Hickman attempted to perform the Hobbs maneuver.
What, kill everybody?
Well, no, was it get to the shuttle and eject straight away? Whereas actually, interestingly, in this game, it won't let you prematurely abandon ship before the self-destruct timer gets down to a certain level. And then if you leave anybody behind, you are guaranteed to have an alien stowaway on the shuttlecraft, which you then have to fight. Yeah, so Mr. Hitman goes, what? You automatically get a stowaway on the shuttle? It's like, that's just rubbish. It's like,
have you seen the film?
Have you never seen an alien film? No. Oh God! It's like in
pretty much all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's pretty much all of them. Yeah. Just when you think you've killed the alien, there's a stowaway somewhere. So yeah, it's very thematic. But yeah, it probably wouldn't suit you, Hobbsy, because it is fully cooperative.
That wouldn't stop me.
But it is, yeah. But I mean, again, you got all the classic homages in the characters. I mean, there's somebody that doesn't look anything at all like Burt Reynolds, and there's somebody who really isn't Snake Plissken, and stuff like this. So, but no, it's an interesting game. Really enjoyed it. It is a 1 versus many game, so one of the players does play the alien.
Okay.
So it is a case of the alien player is trying, and the alien player is trying to kill the crew. It is the case of, you're just trying to do stuff. you're just trying to make it more difficult for them. No, the alien player is attempting to completely wipe out the crew.
Sounds like
I mean, it's quite interesting because each crew player plays 2 crew members. There isn't player elimination because if you happen to lose both of your crew members, you can end up playing the cat, or you can play the ship computer. So you can play the ship computer and start. So basically, start doing stuff to help out. Quite, yes.
Yeah.
Or you get to play Jones.
The thing is, when you said you can play the cat, I immediately thought of Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not Jonesy.
Indeed, yeah, that would be brilliant. you could, yes.
Do a Red Dwarf theme expansion.
So the game itself, actually, once you get your head around it, it really does rollick along very quickly. It plays very quickly. The rule book is a bit of a nightmare because it is one of these things where rules, you get things like rules are hidden in tables or hidden in paragraphs, and you have to constantly keep flicking around to try and find various different pieces. Once you know what everything does, and most things are run by iconography. So once you know what icons mean and what they do, then that's not a problem at all. But it will take a couple of games to get into it. But yeah, really good game. It's Lifeform. It's from All or Nothing Productions. So that's the same guys that did things like Gloom of Kilforth 1066. The name of the designer escapes me. Give me 1 second. I shall look him up, because when I tweeted that I played the game, he responded to my tweet saying, "Did the aliens win?" So I had to apologise. So I ended up having to apologise to him. He said, "How come you were playing the alien and didn't win? It was a learning game. Sorry." Give me 1 second. It is Mark Chaplin. Mark Chaplin is the designer who. So yes, excellent game. Looking forward to playing that again. It will be interesting to play that side by side with Nemesis and compare the two, compare and contrast, and see which ones people prefer. So that's me. That's what I've been up to. How about you, Mr. Peters? What have you been playing recently?
Oh, blimey, where should I start? Well, I do. I have 3 separate lunchtime Dungeons and Dragons clubs at the school, which I won't go into a great deal. We'll talk about that in a bit. Obviously, have the regular Thursday after school Warhammer club. I ordinarily on a Wednesday night I run games at the RP Haven Cardiff North branch, which was cancelled this evening, as luck would have it. But I'm running Call of Cthulhu Day of the Beast there, which is their campaign. I think it's sort of Masks of Nyarlathotep light is how you describe it. But
okay, so what edition are you running?
Okay, sorry, what? 5th edition, my beloved 5th edition.
Okay.
The only reason being, a few years back, I had a friend who worked on the Dark Corners of the Earth video game, and they were all given a copy of the rather beautiful fake leather green hardbound rulebook, 5th edition rulebook, with the sort of gold elder sign on the front. And I wanted to get one of these, and of course, they're like as rare as hen's teeth. So I messaged my friend and said, would anybody ever be willing to sell their copy? And his boss, who owned, I think they were called Head First Studios, just gave me his copy. And it's been my kind of a treasured possession. So yeah, 5th edition is I understand 7th edition is very, very good, but they'll prize 5th edition for my cold dead hands. So yeah, we've been running Day of the Beast. It used to be called Fungi from Yuggoth and the Curse of Cthulhu, but it's now called Day of the Beast. And it's very pulpy. a few people suggested that you could run it as a pulp Cthulhu game. I think it would work really well. It's got a lot of pulp tropes in it. But the players have been getting really into it. We're about 2 or 3 sessions from the end now, and they're all really kind of wound up about it, which is lovely. So yeah, that's what I normally do over Wednesday evening when I'm not talking to you gentlemen. I have my it's usually about once a month. I play Star Trek Adventures on Roll20 on the internet with Matt Asaka on Twitter, and a few other folks, and I've been really enjoying that. I was kind of I had mixed feelings about the Modiphius, the 2D20 system when Star Trek Adventures first kind of arrived on the scene. Because I was not a big fan of the Modiphius stuff because of Achtung Cthulhu. I love Achtung Cthulhu, absolutely love it. But they did that with Fate and Savage Worlds and Call of Cthulhu, and so when Star Trek showed up with this 2D20 system, I was a bit dubious, and I kind of took me a while to warm to it. But I love it now. I think they've done a really good, and Nathan and the others have done a really good job of just catching the feel of the show and the movies. And the kind of the Star Trek setting, the various settings. To be fair, you get a different. I think you can get a different flavour depending on what period you're actually playing in. But no, it's a great little system. I got a lot of time for Star Trek Adventures.
Does it allow you to play? Sorry, does it allow you to play in the sort of different? Star Trek universes. Ooh.
Yeah, very much so, and it has short pieces in it, sort of little short essays in it on how to capture the feel of the different periods, which is really nice little bit of advice. The original series is kind of is about the human spirit and man versus machine and this kind of stuff. And gunboat diplomacy and that kind of thing. Whereas the Next Generation, it's a bit more touchy feely, and you've got a ship's counselor, and it's it's a very different feel, and they go into how to approach it and capture those different feels. So, but yeah, it's definitely not. The emphasis in the game is on. I think it's set around the start of Voyager, Star Trek Voyager, and which is end of the 3rd season of Deep Space Nine. But
yeah,
it's the rules themselves are kind of simple and abstract enough that a phaser is just a phaser. So you can, on a tricorder is just a tricorder. So you can play, in the original series with Kirk and Spock, or you can play in the Next Generation era, or you can play Discovery. And there's almost no tweaking needed really. It's just a different feel to the actual setting. So yeah, it covers all bases. So. What else have I been doing? I was playing Gaslands the other day with my son. We had a bit of a race. I wanted to test a track that I've built for the school club. So we were trying out just to make sure it's not too short, too cramped. Finally ran a session of the One Ring with Mr. Hobbs at Firestorm a couple of weeks ago.
And very good it was too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was good.
Excuse me.
Hello?
Excuse me.
Yeah, you were there.
Well, where was my invite to this auspicious occasion?
Oh, you have to ask the GM about that. I mean, there was definitely one sent out. I'm surprised you didn't turn up.
To be honest, Neil, you might have been invited. We started organising it about 8 months ago, and after about 5 cancellations, we finally all sat around the table. So yeah.
I'm gutted.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll do it again.
Really, really good, mate. Oh, you would have loved it.
Well, isn't Ralph running one in January? Well, come down for that, Neil. Just come along.
Yeah. Well, don't invite.
We'll have a Hobbit. Although I assume Mr. Hobbs would want to play a Hobbit, and I was rebuked.
Yeah. Originally I said no, but then I went, I'll go now.
Oh, we like Trotter. Trotter's great. No, it was good. It was great fun. I ran. It was a scenario that Mike actually passed on to me called Words from the Wise, which was a free scenario they gave away as a promo thing. And it's really nice, short intro scenario that covers all the bases. You get you've got a journey, you've got fight with orcs. You've got an audience with the Elf King, and you even get to meet Madagascar Brown, which is, it's a nice little nice little simple game that covers all the bases. And we had great fun. There was a little bit of head scratching in places, but no, it's a nice system. I wanted to run it because I just reading the book, I was sold on it. I loved the way it's handled. But as I say, unfortunately, it took us 8 months and several cancellations before we finally were all available on a Sunday. So, other than that, I have been dismantling Hot Wheels cars and repainting them. I've 3D printed some weapons, bits and pieces to stick on them. I know you can buy them from various places, but being a 3D modeler and having access to a 3D printer, I decided to make my own. Of course, I got them all dismantled. I got them all primed and undercoated and sat there ready to paint and reassemble, and thought, actually, they could do with some drivers. So then I went off and I've sculpted a load of drivers now, and I've printed those, 3D printed those as well. So I start sticking those in and making those up. So that was fun. I've been building a Gorseth circle, a sort of a Stonehenge, mini Stonehenge, which was again, Mr. Hobbs helped me with that, because I had this brainwave the other day for the school club. I want to do a survival game like the classic Ziggurat of Doom, the original Warhammer Fantasy Battles scenario.
Yeah,
right.
But the Ziggurat is not only 2 feet square, it's massive, and I was thinking I can't make it, and I can't store it anywhere. So what can I do? And it suddenly occurred to me, you don't need a Ziggurat. And I thought, if I made a small stone circle, and the dwarves can sit in the stone circle, and I'll just swarm Skaven at them. And then Carl, who runs the club with me, suggested we use Stormcast Eternals, and I use Age of Sigmar. I thought, brilliant! That was a great idea. So that's the plan. I went up the woods with the dog, grabbed a load of stones, I've hot glued them to a base, I've flocked it, and I've got a stone circle now for my Ziggurat of Doom scenario, which I've renamed the Stones of Blood.
Excellent. I hoped after you stuck the stones onto the base, you then repainted them to make them look like little stones.
That was my next question. You have to paint the stones so they look like stones.
I'll bear that in mind.
You can't just be using stones in their natural form. They don't look like it.
Yeah, you got to dry brush them.
Yeah. I mean,
no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Their colour scheme is the wrong scale.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. And I did nick that idea from Mr. Clark, so we have to. Well, that's
because I said no, I need to figure out how to make a henge, and you pointed me at Rich's post where he did them as individual pieces, didn't he? But, and I as soon as I saw it, I thought, yeah, of course, just glue stones to a base and flock it, job done.
Paint them first, and then flock them.
Yeah. I haven't painted them, Mike. I'm sorry.
Oh, for God's sake!
Paint them grey.
Call yourself a model.
Black grey, yeah, just black grey and our stones.
I don't know, bloody role players come into our hobby, Neil. Don't even know the basics.
So yeah, the only other thing I can think of I've done is model the Humber Scout car for Nick, Laddie Nick, which was
which one was yours?
Mine was the rubbish one, Chalky.
Yeah.
Because what it was in a nutshell, Nick basically said, look, if I want to get one of these things 3D printed, where can I get one? And I have this nasty habit of holding my hand up and going, I can do it. So I foolishly volunteered, and it took me a few weeks before I got round to it. But I modelled this scout car in 3D. And I posted him this long technical message saying that this is an STL file. This is what you use. Then you find someone with a 3D printer, and you can and you can and get this thing printed out. And he said, I understood some of those words. So I said, all right, look. So he put out a tweet then asking if folks could help out, and so it was 3 folks kindly offered to 3D print him this Humber car. And as luck would have it, we had an open night at the school, and my boss, the DT teacher, said, look, I want to have this 3D printer set up printing something. Have you got something they can print? And I went, well, actually, funnily enough. So I print them as well. I mean, we've got, they're quite old. They're quite crap. They're sort of the standard FDM style printers, and they're very low res. But I thought, I'll print one anyway. So I sent that one in. But yeah, that was by far the worst one, and expectedly so. But yeah, that was a fun little exercise. Actually, it was really good fun. And then of course, Nick asked me to come on and talk about 3D printing, which was interesting because I've only just started learning about it myself, so I'm hardly an expert. But I think the point was I knew more than he did, so that was enough.
That was enough, yeah. Just walking past the 3D printer would have been enough. Yeah.
Well, apparently he says apparently Rich is buying one now.
Oh God. oh dear! Look out, everyone.
So, well, I thought half the thing with 3D printing was half the hobby was actually kind of sorting the printer out.
I guess so. They're pretty good. I mean, I've not had any nightmares. The resin printer that we had in school has gone back to the vendor for a replacement. But we, on the whole, they're okay. They're not a nightmare to get going. I've had a couple of minor issues with them, especially the FDMs when they've not reached the right temperature or something and they're not sticking to the bed properly. But it's very minor. Generally, they work okay. It's more. It's the quality. I think it's whether if you're happy with the quality or do you mind having the print lines in it. But as Mike mentioned earlier, we were talking about the boat that someone sent you, and the quality of that is
absolutely amazing.
But you can print down with the resin printers. You can go down to 0.02 of a millimeter. It's tiny layers. So yeah, you get very smooth surfaces on it.
And if you want to listen to the full interview of Wayne on the Oddcast, that's on Oddcast number 24.
Okay.
Available at all good RSS.
Yeah, Nick managed to edit it really well. I actually sound like I know what I'm talking about. I blathered through it. There we go. I think that's everything that I've been doing anyway.
Most excellent. How about you, Mr. Hobbs? What have you been up to?
Painting nothing. I haven't even picked up a paintbrush this week. I have been sorting out.
Disappointing.
I know. I've got a whole pile of space wolves to paint.
I got some stones you can paint.
Yeah, take them over. I'll paint the pot with you. I do 2 colours of stone, grey or brown.
What about Cotswold?
I might be able to push a marble if you want, but that'll cost you more. Because I have to do the little lines and stuff.
I always find getting the coloured swirl in the middle to be a bit of an issue.
Yeah. There's ways around that though.
You've been painting space wolves. I've been thinking about a space wolves army myself recently. Are you doing
very small?
Yeah, you do an epic scale. I suddenly thought, yeah. So that's that grey with a dot of yellow.
Pretty much. Oh no, there's 2 shades of grey over black.
Well, okay, yeah, technical.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and a dot of yellow on the shoulders.
Yeah,
and the guns are red. I couldn't think of any other colour to paint them. But no, I've done no painting this week. I've been doing lots of sorting out of cards and stuff from my rough up third stuff. So I have had some games. We had a game of Warhammer role-playing on Friday, which was which was the prologue to the campaign I'm about to start, which starts this Friday. So in this one, our two heroes got together and went on a journey. One of them got drunk. They killed some orcs. They delivered a letter. It was all good stuff. And they've met a new friend who was who was Ralph. And on Friday, they all go off on a nice adventure together. Well, that's the plan. They're probably going to end up getting eaten by beastmen.
Yeah, it's the old world. They'll end up face down in the mud
pretty soon. Yeah. I want to try and keep them alive for a little while because I got like 3 scenarios linked up. So
it's long enough to play through them. Yeah. Write all this material for nothing. Damn it.
Yes, I printed off stuff. I've done cards and everything. So.
You've done cards. You've done labels.
I've done labels. Oh my! I love my label maker. Can I just say it's the best thing I think I've ever bought.
I saw it on Twitter. And I thought, okay, but why? And then I realised, I saw all the things that you labelled, and okay, fair enough. I get it.
I love a label maker. Oh, I go to the boxes of cards next. Oh. Oh. I even sorted cards into little boxes and put labels on them. Oh, a Saturday sorted out.
Dear me.
Yeah. I even labelled Mandy, and she wasn't first.
You must have been feeling particularly brave at that point in time.
I walked past and I snapped it onto her forehead. And the thing is, she looked at it, looked at me, scowled, and I forgot it was there for about 3 hours. Yes.
Yeah, me.
Anyway, so other than that, played Mortal Gods last night. Well, I didn't actually play. I was just heckling from the sidelines and trying to find the rules. This is our second game. It's the first time we've used a lot of heroes and companions. So we had sort of a main hero, 2 sub-heroes, and then a bunch of minions wandering around. And we used one of the scenarios. So we used their system of scenario generation. So we randomly chose a setup area, and randomly chose a scenario, and played that through. It was amazing fun. Yeah. When you include heroes, it completely changes the game, and you can see exactly how it's going to work in fantasy. Yeah, loving that. So me and Ralph both bought the new cards. So I think we're both looking at Persians and Thracians.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I think I've made Gareth from ADC Paintings Day. I pointed out I'm going to get a Persian army and send it straight to him because I'm not painting it.
Gareth's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, that's definitely one of those forehead moments.
Oh, no.
No, yeah. I know what's coming.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, bright colours and patterns. No. So that's that. But that's pretty much it. Nothing else going on. It's only been a week.
Cool. I thought you were playing. You were going to play a game of Arkham Horror.
No, we decided to play Mortal Gods instead. We could probably try and do Arkham Horror again sometime soon. But I did dig out my box of stuff and look at it longingly.
Yes.
Thinking that needs some rules.
No, I'm sorry. You simply aren't trying as far as that box is concerned. It's got far too few cards in it.
I'm not buying another cycle until I started playing Dunwich Horror. Or Dunwich Legacy, whatever it's called.
Cool. Oh, no.
I know what you're saying, but no, I'm not doing it.
No, because you got distracted by 40k Conquest instead.
That was a deal. That was kind of £50 for a lot. See the box fit now. So
you've got one. It's just got Cthulhu on it.
Maybe I could put a label on it. It'd be alright.
Cover up that wonderful etched artwork with a nice printed label. Yeah.
It'll be fine. That's me done.
Excellent stuff. Right. Okay. Well, in that case, then, we'll take another break, and when we come back, it's into the heart of the show. The Meeples and Miniatures podcast is proud to be sponsored by Firestorm Games. Whether you need Wargames rules, miniatures, paints, hobby accessories, scenery, board games, card games, all your role-playing needs, and even toys and collectibles, Firestorm Games is your store of choice. Check them out at www.firestormgames.co.uk or at their stores located in Cardiff, Newport and Swindon. Don't forget, if you use the code SANTAMEEPLE, or lowercase, you will get an extra discount on your order. Firestorm Games, for all your hobby goodness. So here we are. Welcome to the second instalment of Hobbs Half Hour.
Huh?
No backing out now, Mike.
Hang on. It was a one time only.
One time only, never to be repeated, except this week, where Mr. Hobbs invites a guest onto the show.
Eh?
And, who apparently happens to be a mate, and therefore gets the privilege of running the main section of the show. Mike, take it away.
So it's the part of the show where we get to ask our guest the important questions that he or she may not want to answer. In this case, probably will, because that's why we invited them on. So Wayne.
Hello.
Hello. The main reason that we invited you on, not because we ran out of other people to invite.
Yeah.
But it's because you, as part of your day job, or one of your many day jobs, work in a school, and you run a school gaming club.
I do.
Yes,
Mr. Ellis. Yeah.
Mr. Ellis, yes. We can't call him Carl. Is there any children listening? Hello, children. Mr. Peters is here.
That freaked me out. When I first started working out, just kids calling you sir all the time. It's really, I thought it weird.
Oh. Are you one of these cool teachers who said, "Oh, call me Wayne"?
No, it's funny. I've had a discussion with one of the HE teachers, and she said, "No, I wouldn't want him following me down the corridor calling me Sarah." But, yeah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah, it's very good. So anyway, enough of this. So you run a gaming club in school. So you posted a picture, and it just made me tremendously happy, because all we ever hear about is the brain of the hobby, and seeing a bunch of children of indeterminate age, because I don't have kids, I've got no idea how old they are, playing games just made me happy. So we thought, let's get Wayne on to talk about gaming with children.
Okay.
So, do you want to give us a bit of a breakdown, really, of sort of the ages of the children, sort of numbers you've got in the club, the history of how you put it together, that sort of stuff?
All right. Well, I guess I'll briefly kind of fill in the background. Going right back. I was a 3D artist specialising in video games, and I went freelance. And as most freelancers will probably appreciate, I ended up needing a day job. So about a year ago, I took a job as a part-time, this was at the time, DT technician at Corpus Christi High School in Cardiff. And I knew as soon as I started there that I wanted to start a Dungeons and Dragons club, or a role-playing club, but I guess it'd be Dungeons and Dragons. And of course, first day there, I started asking around, is there one already? Nobody knew. But they said, I think someone runs a gaming club of some description. And I quickly found out that was Carl. And I don't think he'd actually been doing it long himself. He was running a lunchtime, Warhammer club. And he essentially had a handful of his own, figures, old plastic Space Marines and what have you. He had some printed, battle mats, that had the kind of cargo crates actually printed on them. And he was playing Kill Team. He was showing them how to play Kill Team, because, it's 2 or 3 figures each. Simple. It's essentially Warhammer Light. I guess it's not even Warhammer Light. It's pretty much Warhammer. So I went along to a session, and my brain started going. I said, I could make cargo containers. I could make little objectives like that, and kind of went all in. And we started there. The idea of a D&D club was dropped for a bit because I wasn't sure. I didn't really know where to start with it, and I thought I maybe jumping in at the deep end. I maybe need to get to understand how the school works and get a feel for how to handle the kids first. So I helped Carl run this Warhammer club, and that quickly, because there were 2 of us, that quickly switched to an after-school club. And what we started doing last year, while I was only working a couple of days a week, and he was as well, actually, funny enough, we would do every other Thursday. It would be one Thursday. It would be a lunchtime club where they just do either play a very quick game or do a little bit of painting. And then alternate Thursdays, it would actually be an after-school club for 2 hours where we could get a big game in. Didn't have a huge amount of kids to start with. Carl is, I think LSA is the term. He works with children with learning difficulties or sort of social difficulties, and so a lot of the kids that came to the club were kids from his classes, and he recruited them. And I think it's a quite a powerful tool for him to build a relationship with them, and also kind of help them with literacy, with numeracy, with interacting with each other. I think it's very, from his point of view, it's a very useful thing to do. And he's a long-term gamer like us as well, so it's fun as well. It's not just work.
But it is interesting because it shows an application of what otherwise is potentially a boring subject. That you suddenly turn around and go, okay, this is one reason why you want to learn maths, for example.
Yeah.
And it not be about, and it's, yes, an application you may not have thought of, but one that is really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, the big success story, I think, so far is, one of the kids that comes to the club is one of the older ones. Now when he first started, when Carl first met him, he was very kind of insular. He would get very stressed, very tense, and he would actually snap. He would get so stressed he would snap pencils because he was so frustrated. And we actually took him and another kid who again has sort of social issues up to the Kill Team regionals at Warhammer World last year, and they were absolutely brilliant. The difference in them between when Carl first met them and being able to take them to a tournament at Warhammer World where they were left. I mean, they were left to play their games on their own. I was a little concerned that there may be tantrums if they lost, but they weren't. They were absolutely superb. And I'd say just that difference is extraordinary. It's not just down to the gaming club. I'm not trying to claim credit for it. No, certainly I'm not trying to claim credit personally. But I think it definitely has a positive effect. I think that I personally find that extraordinary. The way that they were when we took them out to Warhammer World was just, amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah.
So what ages are we talking about here?
11 to, I'm trying to think now, year 7 to year 10. So sort of 11 to 14, 15.
Okay.
They're mainly, most of the kids we have now are year 7s, they're new recruits. Because we've kind of, this year, both myself and Carl have gone full time. And so we've got a lot more, we're able to be a lot more, hands on with it. And we, at the start of the year, in September, arguably foolishly, just sent out a message to all form teachers to read out to the kids. If you're interested in trying Warhammer or Dungeons and Dragons, come along to the DT room at lunchtime on Thursday. And we didn't have masses, to be fair. But we got a lot of kids, and it's a big group. I mean, you saw the photograph I posted on Twitter. I mean, that's easily twice as many as we had last year. It was a lot more manageable. This, I wouldn't say we're struggling, but it's difficult when you've got, say, you've got 8 to 10 kids all trying to learn Warhammer at the same time, and there's only 2 of us to kind of keep moving between the groups and give them the rules. It's, it gets a little bit hectic.
Yes.
So,
it's effectively trying to run a tournament with no player who knows the rules, and you've only got 2 umpires. Yes. Yeah.
But we get there, and it's I mean, we're not super strict on the rules. They have a vague understanding of it. We have a vague understanding of it, and I quite often find in a pinch I'll just say, oh yeah, that's a +3, and they don't know and they don't care. So it's you sort of make it up on the spur of the moment. It's gauging whether they're having fun, I think. I was saying to Mike earlier before we started recording, I'm constantly, certainly with the Dungeons and Dragons Club, so I did start this year now, I have started doing the Dungeons and Dragons Club, and I tried to do it as part of the Warhammer group, but there were just too many kids. I had about, there were a good sort of 10 or 12 kids wanted to play, and I couldn't do them all as one group. So I switched that to, lunchtime sessions, and I split them into 3 groups. So I've got 3 groups of about 4 kids. I've had several come and go since, but. Certainly
a party size that's a lot more manageable.
Yeah. But I find with that, it's dialing things up and down just to make sure you get a balance between, playing the game properly, but not making it boring. I started off, creating characters with them, but I was clearly losing them. It was just taking far too long. So in the end, what I did was made up a load of pre-gens of classics like Elf Ranger, Hobbit Rogue, Halfling Rogue, Human Wizard, that kind of thing. Yeah. And so I can just go, right, what would you like? And I can give them a character sheet, and that's it, done. They're ready to play. And that I think they're perfectly fine with that. They can still take ownership of their character in other ways. They don't have to actually be there and roll the dice and create it. So, yeah.
Okay, so you got a lunchtime club.
Yeah.
For D&D.
Yeah.
So is that an hour?
No, it's usually about 30 minutes at the most, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but actually,
I was going to say, so what can you give us an example of what you can achieve in a role-playing session of 30 minutes?
I'm trying to think now. It's usually a combat, or a little bit of talking. I honestly find, it doesn't sound like anything, but I honestly find that usually it's just about enough. They have very unbelievably short attention spans. And I think they could probably go on longer, but I think just that little burst of rolling some dice, maybe fighting a goblin or 2, and they have fun, and it's enough. I don't think I could run a 2-hour session with them. I think they would be bored before the end of 2 hours. I think an hour at the absolute most.
So do you do them as sort of like little mini one shots, or do you just have like a long running sort of like you're sort of breaking down a scenario into half-hour segments?
I'm making stuff up as I go along. I just throw situations at them and just see where it goes. Really, I mean they do crazy stuff. I had one kid. The first session, there was some goblins guarding an entrance to a mine, and he said, "Can I sneak up and steal their swords?" Which is completely unexpected. Okay, and not to disarm them. He wanted to steal their swords so he could sell them. So it's like, all right, fair enough, yeah. We had a kid. Was it Monday's game? One kid was reduced to 0 hit points. His mate said, "Can I set him on fire?" And I was like, well, he'll die. And the kid whose character was going, yeah, set me on fire. So they set him on fire and then threw him at this owlbear they were fighting. So they threw this flaming corpse at an owlbear. What else was there? There was one of the, funny enough, I've got, of 3 groups, one group has 2 girls in it. And it's, and they're probably my most enthusiastic players. They're the only ones so far who said to me they want to buy the books. And they're really quite into it. But they encountered a bugbear, and the one girl decided, instead of fighting him, she wanted to calm him down and make friends with him. Which she did. And then they bought his donkey and they set off into the wilderness. It was just, but it's fantastic. The stuff they come up with is just, you kind of, I've got this sort of 35 years of conditioning to say, well, that's not how you should behave in this situation. But then you just immediately go, no, that's fine. You go right ahead, roll your dice, you go right ahead. And I usually, if it's something wacky, I'll often try and make the difficulty quite low. So there's a good chance they'll succeed. Because you kind of want to reward them for doing something crazy. And you can kind of see that, if they come up with this ridiculous idea, but if it works, they're going to feel so good about it. So it's okay. I'll set the difficulty really low, so there's a good chance they'll succeed. And it still feels like they're rolling the dice, and there's a chance they might fail. But it gets a little bit of a confidence boost if this crazy scheme of theirs actually comes off.
So was there any sort of pushback from the school for doing this, or from the parents? No, not at all. The satanic panic is long in the past, I think. I'm not aware of any, particularly we're a Catholic school, and I'm not aware that any of the parents have had any issues with it at all. I think it's just seen as a game. It's just a fun hobby these days.
Because obviously, especially over the last 2 or 3 years, something like Dungeons and Dragons has suddenly become really cool. It's suddenly become the cool thing to do, isn't it?
One of the first questions I got asked was, when are we going to fight the Demogorgon? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I said it's going to be a while before you can get to that level. Yeah. Yeah. One of that group actually keeps skinning stuff. They're evil. Kids are evil. I tell you. They honestly, when there's they can do what they like, and there's no real consequences. They'll just do the most hateful, humiliating crap to your NPCs. It's just, they're awful. Swines.
Okay. So in the clubs, you got the evening club, which is once a week now.
Yeah.
That's just sort of Warhammer style club.
Yeah.
And you're doing role playing during the day.
Yeah.
So with the evening club, are you just gaming, or are you sort of doing hobby stuff as part of that? I mean, it's just a case of the kids can come along and do what they want for that 2 hours? Or do you have sort of...
We do set up games for them to play. As I say, when we first started, Carl did have a load of paints there, and a couple of brushes, and they were doing a little bit of painting. Those have gone now. I'm not sure where they've gone, but they disappeared. So if they bring along their own paints and glue and what have you, and they want to sit and just make their minis and paint their minis, then they're welcome to. But we don't, unfortunately, have the stuff, the supplies for them to let them do it. But most of them are interested in playing anyway. We've got a load of minis which Carl has supplied, and yeah, it's generally either Kill Team or Warhammer. We've got a set of X-Wing, which a couple of them really enjoy playing. One of the kids is a massive Star Wars fan, so he really enjoys playing X-Wing. We've got Escape the Dark Castle as well, which Carl will sometimes run. If there's a couple at a loose end, he'll sometimes sit down and run a game of that with them, which I've not played yet. It looks quite interesting.
That is good. That is going back to Fighting Fantasy days.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's that kind of ilk of game. It's
okay.
Very clever. It's very clever. So essentially, it's like you have a number of encounters you have to deal with. Except the fact you're not playing heroes. You're playing like the cook and the butcher and and the baker who have happened to escape the dungeon, and somehow you've got to get away and eventually defeat a boss of some sort before you can finally escape the castle. But no, as I say, it's very much of the old Fighting Fantasy ilk.
Okay.
It's very reminiscent of that.
Like, so often
huge amounts of fun.
Often get them saying that. So we played Escape the Dark Castle. Okay, how did you get on? Oh, we all died.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it is one of those cooperative games where it is not unusual for everybody to die. Yeah, very very quickly. But yeah, it's a cracking game.
Right. No, I do want to because although I say it's a Warhammer club, I do want to start introducing other games. Obviously, we've got X-Wing. I'd really like to get them playing Gaslands. I think Carl is really quite keen to have a go at Gaslands as well, as I've raved about it continuously. And I'd like to. I mean, it occurred to me things like What a Tanker would probably be a great game to put on there.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, just things that simple rules that with a kind of a low buy-in as well. If we can supply the minis, or it doesn't cost them much of their pocket money to buy the minis, then it's ideal, really. I think. So yeah, but I'm saying this. I mean, one kid, he's super enthusiastic. He showed up. He's one of our new ones, but he showed up last week. He had a Redempted Dreadnought and a flight of assault, sort of jetpack assault marines, and some intercessors and reavers, and he must have blown a load on. But painted most of them as well. He's right into it, really into it. Super enthusiastic. He's great.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, part of the driving force behind this is that whilst I got into the hobby, I suppose by myself, an awful lot of the tales you hear from the grognards on Twitter is that, there was this one teacher in school and they introduced, they had textbook hills and some plastic figures and a tank and stuff, and part of me wants to be that teacher, the idea that these kids are going to, 30 years from now, are going to be like ourselves, just mad into the hobby, war gamers, role players, whatever, and kind of remember that the reason they're into this hobby is because of that one teacher. That's quite cool. I mean, that's a nice legacy to have, I think.
Mm. And also it gets them, firstly playing games, which is great.
Mm. Yeah.
You got all the artistic stuff around it, making figures, painting figures, which they can do as part of that. There's the tie-in to, I suppose, if you sort of start playing historical games, you can sort of tie it into, other stuff that they might be learning.
Definitely.
Sort of history lessons and stuff and all of that. So it's a win-win, isn't it? It's a great thing. I'm kind of guessing that you probably don't get a lot of funding for doing this.
No, well, the Board of Governors have given us a small purse. It's about £100, I think, which was incredibly generous of them. which I know doesn't go very far when it comes to miniatures and terrain, but certainly it's allowed us to buy materials for making scenery and terrain pieces with. I mean, the DT department is a terrain making dream, really. I've got access to a laser cutter and a 3D printer, and a whole load of machine tools. So making the ruined buildings and so far, what have I got so far? A whole load of landing pad bases I've made, a catwalk system, based on there's a great system, a guy on YouTube. I'm blanking now. I'll try and find him out. You can put him in the show notes. This guy did a modular catwalk system for Warhammer, and put it on YouTube. And I copied that, and that's been really cool. I just made a whole load of laser cut MDF ruined buildings for 2 city scenes that we use, and modular spaceship corridors, and yeah. And this is all done with scraps and offcuts that we've got in the DC department, which is great. So it's cost us nothing. So the budget's covering paint. I mentioned buying paints from the works earlier. Dead cheap. We can paint the scenery with that then, and stuff like that.
Sounds like an ideal opportunity to play games like, I don't know, Frostgrave or Thud and Blunder. Or that kind of style of small warband.
I'm currently making some half timber houses so that I can run Rangers of Shadow Deep.
Cool.
That's another one I want. I desperately want to play that myself. But I think the first scenario is some 6 houses. I mean, I know you probably don't need to stick to that, but yeah, it'd be nice to have them anyway, just in the cupboard to use. So, again, I'll laser cut them, and I've been looking at ways of getting a laser cutter to sculpt the stonework in the walls and using height maps. And it, sort of knock them together fairly simply and cheaply. And yeah, I'd love to get them playing the Rings of the Shadow Deep. I mean, it's D&D life, isn't it, really? So, yeah.
Yeah. And again, I was going to say, it's something that you can do as sort of part of our, to our club. Is like, okay, next week, kids, we're all going to get together, we're all going to paint this. And it gives them, sort of an in to, they made it so they can use it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So, let's have a bit of a call out to everybody listening. So, what can we do to help you? Right. You've got many, many dozens of people listening to this now, right? So,
okay.
What do you need?
Yeah, what do you need?
Blimey, I haven't prepared for this. Okay. What would we need?
You may not get anything, because our listeners are notoriously stingy.
Honestly,
that's Michael Hobbs. Yes.
I mean, anything and everything, I suppose. Terrain would always be welcome. Paints, and minis of any description. And, I don't think we'd say no to anything. Anything could probably be used. It's, yeah.
Oh, there we go. So, if anyone listening to this wants to help out, right, get hold of me or Neil, on Twitter if you want, or drop us an email. Our contact details are on the site. And we'll put you in touch with Wayne. And let's see what we can get. I'm going to go through my cupboards for the weekend when I'm going to dig out some stuff.
Oh, bless you, Mike.
That's all right. You haven't seen what I'm going to give you yet.
Painted rocks.
Painted rocks.
Oh, yeah. Rocks that are painted, man. I'm going to show you how to paint rocks. Yeah, this is helping the next generation of the hobby. And we all bitch and moan about the hobby greying out. It's not greying out. And there's people like Wayne and Carl who are putting themselves forward. And I'm kind of guessing you're doing this in your own time. You're not getting paid for it.
No.
So let's help out.
But I mean, I say I'm not being paid for it, but I get to play Warhammer. I get to play X-Wing and Gaslands and Dungeons and Dragons. So it's a win-win, really.
Well, yeah, but we're trying to go for the sympathy vote here, right?
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a hardship and like, oh dear.
Yeah.
I found that modular catwalk system I was talking about is Wyloch, Wyloch, Wyloch's Armory on YouTube, and he does like a modular catwalks, really good.
Ooh.
Actually,
Excellent stuff.
I tagged him on Twitter, funny enough, and he put a picture of my setup on the end of one of his videos.
That's cool.
So yes, I'm not sure what else to say about the club, really. It's
Yeah, I was sort of setting it up, well, Carl did most of the job, the work, did himself originally, but
it did, to be fair, yeah.
So if there's any other, people listening to this who are teachers or working at a school, and there isn't a gaming club out there at their school, again, have a think about doing it. It sounds like it's a great thing to do for the kids.
Yeah, it's something I think you just have to jump in and work it out. As I was saying to you earlier, I was looking because I wanted to set up this Dungeons and Dragons club, and I was looking everywhere for advice on how to set up a club in a school and how to organize it, how to how to kind of gauge the dials with the kids. I know there's that guy that's got that all girls middle school class in America, isn't there? He's quite a bit of a Twitter celebrity. And he seems to be going great guns, and it's just like how, because he very quickly got them running their own games, and I just wanted to find advice on how you achieve that, really, and I couldn't find anything, so I've kind of just sort of jumped in and worked it out with tremendous help from Carl as well, and it seems to be working, but I've definitely made it up as I've gone along, and I think that's probably the best way to approach it, really.
Yeah.
And have a go. I think there are an awful lot of school clubs. You just obviously don't hear about them, really. But there are a lot of teachers out there, I think, who are doing this sort of thing, especially as many of them are sort of our generation, who are long-term role players and war gamers and board gamers themselves.
So any sort of future plans you'd like to sort of try and get kids into? I mean, you mentioned, sort of trying to expand the sort of games that you play, but do you think you might, if you get more help from the staff, you might go for 2 nights a week, or?
I don't think so. I think 1 night a week is fine. I think that's fine for any after school club, really. My plan is, probably carry on as we are for this year. I think, I'd imagine the Warhammer Club will pretty much continue as is, but obviously we want them fairly autonomous as quickly as possible. Now, but for next September, if I have a new intake of year 7s, I'm going to want the kids in my D&D club at the moment to be running their own games, so that I can then run games for the new intake. Because I'm not, if the club just keeps expanding and I have to keep running games, it's just not going to be manageable. So I need them. My immediate objective is to get them familiar enough with the rules and build up their confidence enough that they're up for, well, at least one of them is up for running their own games. And that's actually started today. One of the older boys. Funny enough, it's the guy I was talking about we took to Warhammer World, and he has started running a D&D game. He's doing a bloody good job of it as well. And I sat in on that today, and he's not got easy players either, bless him. So that process has kind of started already. But I think with Warhammer as well, it's a case of the sooner we can get them just showing up, setting up, playing by themselves, and not needing us to stand over them, telling them the rules, the better. And then we can focus on if there are newcomers, we can help them out. And, so it's, I think the main objective is just getting them playing by themselves as quickly as we can.
Yeah, and so I suppose for that you need copies of the rules that you can give out, or I'm kind of guessing you can photocopy stuff. But yeah.
Well, with the nice thing with Warhammer is the rules themselves are they're a couple of pages now. You can download them for free from the website, can't you? That's certainly Age of Sigmar you can. I don't know about 40k, but we've got several copies of the Kill Team rulebook, and Carl was sort of onto them when we first started off last year. Carl was onto them constantly, to get their own rule book, get their own miniatures, get their own dice, this kind, sort of thing. So we've got, there's plenty of rule books and actually dice is something we're a little bit short on. Funny enough, we've got dozens of Lincoln things, but there's still doesn't seem to be enough to go around. So yeah, I got a load of grog meat dice. I'm going to donate to the club. I think it's kindly given to me by Dirk the Dice for doing his logo. So you'll be pleased to know they're going to a good cause.
Yep. I think he does this. And actually, I was chatting to Mr. The Dice this week, and he wants to try him and Blythe, the good judge.
Yeah.
They want to try a war game next year. They want to try a large war game.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So we're going to try and do a Meeples Grognard clash.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So I think it was last year at Grogmeet, someone ran an open Gaslands game.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like a good idea. I was thinking of maybe doing that for Owlbear and Wizard staff next year. Because Matt, who runs Owlbear and Wizard staff, was talking about maybe opening up on Sunday morning just for like socialising and board gaming. Sounds like good fun.
Yeah,
we shall see.
Yeah, it was actually that Sunday after Owlbear that was going to be the game, the date we're going to go for. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, it's the 20th of September, and it's my wife's birthday.
Oh no! Yeah, better not miss that.
No.
No. Yeah. Yes. You're normally. Yeah. You're normally in parts foreign.
I'm normally in parts foreign sick.
Yeah. Yes.
So this year we might stay home, and I'll be sick at home. But so there we go. So it's a call out. It's a great thing you're doing, mate. Really.
Oh yeah, fantastic stuff.
Yeah,
really good.
Brilliant. It's great for the kids. It's good to see. And if anybody can help out, just get in touch and let's see what we can do.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. Great stuff. Okay. Well, in that case then, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, it's time to wrap up the show. Santa Meeple.
A 54 convertible to light blue. I'll wait up for you, dear.
Santa Meeple.
So hurry down the chimney tonight.
So here we are at the end of the show, but before we get into our final bits and pieces, Wayne, you were just saying that you'd forgotten to mention something.
I did, yes. Talking about the school, but Carl actually runs a kids club on a Friday evening at Firestorm Games in Cardiff, and I think that's it's open to anyone.
Surely not Firestorm Games. What sponsor our show?
Absolutely, the very same.
Wow,
what a coincidence!
If
you're in the Cardiff area.
Sorry, yeah, definitely just worth mentioning. I think because there are even outside of school there are clubs I think all around the country that kids can go along and get involved in.
That's it. So if you're in the South Wales area and you want to get with your kids on a Friday night, come off a Firestorm. And whilst you're there, buy yourself something. Remembering the Meeples discount code.
Indeed.
Oh, yes.
For an extra
details earlier in the show.
Indeed, for an extra 5% discount. Yes. Right. Well, okay. So before we get out of here, it is time to address that. That now worn question of what has Dave bought this week. The interesting thing to report is that, as we stand at the moment, even Dave doesn't know what he's bought this week. Basically, okay, right. So basically,
is Dave in a coma?
So basically, we ended up in a situation today. Obviously, we were discussing earlier the fact that we have a certain parcel arriving tomorrow. At which point, Anna said, "Dave, have you had your notification?" Harumph. Comes from the corner of the office. He's not very happy that the fact that we're getting it before him. Harumph. Anyway, the next thing you know, he gets his notification from Hermes. We're delivering a parcel to you. We're delivering a parcel to you between 10 and 2. He gets that notification at 11:10.
Good old Hermes.
Good old Hermes. And apparently they tried to deliver something at 12. So I responded to Dave and said, "Oh right, okay. So, what are you expecting?" And he looks at me and says, "To be perfectly honest, I've got so many outstanding Kickstarters at the moment. I couldn't make an educated guess which one it may be."
Blimey.
So Dave has, at this point in time, received something. All will be revealed on a future show. Other than that,
News later.
Or more news later, indeed. Other than that, yes, we did manage to convince him to get a pre-order of Plastic Hobbits.
Of course.
I must admit, I did find that quite amusing that he's at the point where he's kind of lost track of what he's expecting. So, to be honest, he's also kind of said, I think I've kind of backed enough at the moment. I think I've bought enough stuff. Plus the fact...
My God, he's full.
Plus the fact... okay, so we were joking earlier, on Twitter. Mr. Hobbs and Mr. Randall especially were joking about the issues with because they have visited the castle abode of the Halfling Hickman, and so know the kind of general layout.
It's well packed.
And so we're querying with, okay, depending on the size of the box, could you even get it up the stairs? And actually, at the moment, he did kind of say, well, he did wonder, even with something like Tainted Grail, he was beginning to wonder where he was going to put it. Because although he's bought a load of Kallax shelving this year for his games room, he has kind of filled it a lot. I mean, yes, the wall in his game room is is impressive.
Actually, this reminds me of something I didn't mention on the last show. A couple of weeks ago, I had a bit of a sort out, and I basically got all of my Mythic Battles and Conan stuff.
Yeah.
And took it out of the packaging. Basically, packed all the figures up.
Yeah.
So I could compress it right down. So I compressed all of the Conan stuff into one box and all the Mythic Battle stuff into one box. Threw out 2 recycling bins full of cardboard and plastic.
Oh, I tell you that I did that for Conan, and throwing the expansion boxes away, those lovely expansion boxes.
I know it's hard, but you got to do it.
And the mythic ones are even better. The mythic ones are beautiful. Oh, I don't know how you can do it, mate. Oh.
Up in my attic, I had about a massive stack of empty, pretty boxes up in the attic because I was saying, can't throw this out. It's a pretty box. And then I thought, I'm being stupid. I'm storing empty boxes in the attic for 5 years because they're pretty. So I throw them all out. But the thing is, once I put everything back, I labelled them first, yeah. Once I put everything back, I think I got loads of space. I filled out two bin bags full of cardboard and loads of boxes. I haven't got any extra space. I might fit in one extra box into my cupboard. And I don't know how this has happened.
All right, so you got rid of all these boxes and not generated any space whatsoever?
Yeah, well, I took them to my table.
Oh, okay.
But my cupboard's full again. And it's odd. It's an odd world. Physics, I don't like it.
Indeed. And on that note, I think it's time we get out of here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, first and foremost, one has to say a huge thank you to Wayne for coming to join us on this evening's show.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you both. It's been an absolute riot. My face is aching from laughing.
That's always good to hear.
There's a lot of time in the script writing offices. We've got 20 script writers who slave over this stuff.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for asking me on.
It's cool. It's been great to have you. And yeah, I mean, huge kudos for what you're doing. I mean, I think back to again, part of my formative years of gaming was spent in a school gaming club. So yeah, it's as you said, it may sound daft, but yeah, this whole legacy thing of if all I can do is start some people down a path that will that will service them for the rest of their life. I mean, that's a massive legacy to have. So I mean, huge kudos to you, mate. Really. I mean, especially with some of the guys you end up dealing with, because I know because I know it can't be easy at times. So yeah, huge kudos to you, mate. Well done. So thank you for coming on. And well, yes. So thank you once again to the Welsh Wizard himself, Mr. Hobbs. Thank you for thank you for braving the weather and coming out on a wild and stormy night.
Oh, it's been hell, but you're welcome. And thank you again, Neil, for inviting me. It's always nice to be here.
It's always nice to have you, mate. Always nice to have you.
Yeah. 6 years now. I've worked it out. It's 6 years.
6 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's still going rid of me.
Some would say yes. Yes. Yeah, some would say you do less of you do less of some major crimes. Yeah. Anyway. And finally, all that remains is to say thank you one and all for listening. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Happy painting to everybody. But until next time, take care of yourselves. Happy gaming. And we'll speak to you soon. What's coming? Next time round, we will be speaking to another Patreon. It's another Patreon in the third chair.
Yay!
Yeah, looking forward to that. Don't know what we're talking about yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah, you never do.
Some would say that's the secret of our success.
Yes.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Meeples and Miniatures podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, why not share it with others by leaving us a review on iTunes? And if you have any comments or questions, you can always email the show. The address is info@meeplesandminiatures.co.uk. And you can also visit our webpage, where you'll find a complete episode archive, all the View from the Veranda podcasts, rules reviews, and our blog of hobby items and news, which is updated several times a week. This is also where you'll find the links to our presence on social media, and here you can follow us on Twitter or join our Facebook group. And finally, here you can also find details should you wish to support us by making a donation to the podcast. All this on the Meeples and Miniatures website, www.meeplesandminiatures.co.uk. The Meeples and Miniatures podcast is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 3.0 Unported license. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.